Alrighty, phase one, the interface. So we're going to dive right into it. Here you see the Ableton interface, and this is how Ableton looks like when you open it for the first time. You get a bunch of tracks, and this is called session view. We're not going to talk about session view now, because the way I teach from arrangement view, where you can go in the top right, you can switch between the session view and the arrangement view. Here, you see the logo on my arm. That's how you can change to the arrangement view. So whenever you think, how did it go? Think about my arm and you know how to switch. So this is like the arrangement view, where essentially we're going to place clips on a timeline. And these clips contain musical patterns. And these musical patterns can play when we press play here with the play button. And it's going to play patterns that we have made inside of these clips, and they're going to play certain sounds. And in the end, we have our channels with like drums, bass, music, vocals, whatever, and they're all going to play on this timeline, right? So whenever you go open Ableton, the first thing you do, you go to your arrangement view. This is called arrangement view. And in arrangement view, we have MIDI tracks and audio tracks. MIDI tracks are instruments that we can load onto it. And so for instance, I have all my drums here on the left. I can drag in a drum kit, and then this drum kit is on this channel. So they can contain instruments. That's for MIDI channels. Audio channels will have audio loops. That if I have an audio loop here somewhere in my library, in my browser, I can drag them in, and then I have like a hi-hat loop in there, right? So I can load audio samples on audio tracks, and MIDI contains instruments. And we're first going to work only in MIDI, so we can basically delete those guys with backspace or right-click. You can always right-click stuff and delete. Right? You can also go to create and create a new MIDI track or create a new audio track. That's basically this view, right? Every track has volume, mute, solo, record, and panning, which is left and right. There's also two sends that go to return tracks. We're not going to talk about that yet, but you just know that they exist in this interface. The main is your main output. This is also your main volume here. So where this is the volume on per track, per channel that you have, this is the volume for the main output of Ableton. So what you're actually hearing on your headphone, right? We also have the mixer. You see it in session view, but there's also down here, all the way in the bottom right, you can open this mixer view. And there you see also the channels with the volume. These channels don't have a volume fader yet because there's no instrument on them, right? So this is the mixer. Down here, we will have our instruments. So if I have a track which contains an instrument, this will be the instrument. It's called this, you call a device view, where the instrument is. And if you have a clip, by double clicking here, you can see the clip view. We can always make this bigger and smaller. You know, if we want to have a little bit more view, we can take this up there. If you hover here, you see this little thing. There's also one here to make the browser bigger. I'm going to get to the browser in a second. And this is like the clip view, and you can switch between device view and clip view depending on the track that you select. If we go to this track, there's nothing on this track. There's no clip, there's no device, so it doesn't show anything. But if the track contains something, you can always switch between device view and clip view here, or double click on the clip for clip view. Double click on the track for the device view on that track. Clip view, device view. Clip view, device view. Very handy. You can always minimize this if you want to focus a little bit more on the arrangement, or open it back up. Another one is here, the little eye. It's called info view. It's really, really handy, because if you hover on something, it will tell you what it is. This, for instance, is a macro control. If I hover here on the volume of track 1, it will say track volume. Track 4, track volume. Track activator, solo, arm recording. So I would really advise you to keep this open in the beginning, so you can see what things mean. Then here we see the browser, which we can close on the top left or open, make it bigger and smaller. And here we have all the tools that we need. We have sounds, we have drums, we have instruments, audio effects, media effects. So it goes on, external plugins, samples. You don't need much yet. We're first going to focus only on the drums and the sounds for our first lessons. And we're going to use only MIDI tracks. Later we'll go into audio tracks, and we're going to use samples and all that stuff, right? But first we're going to use only this. So in the browser you can find anything. You can if you're looking for a drum kit, you click drum kit, and you can pre-listen the drum kits. And if you like a drum kit, you just drag it onto a MIDI channel, and there you go. You're ready to double click to make a clip. And here you then in a clip, you activate this little alien. Yeah, I know it's a headphone, but it looks a little bit like an alien because it's blue. Usually aliens, I think bluish, greenish kind of things. But it's nice, it makes you remember. So always when you want to hear what you're doing, you just click on the alien, and then you can play the sounds. If the alien is not here, nothing is there. So we need aliens to have sounds, right? And once we have a MIDI track with an instrument on it and a MIDI clip, we can actually double click, take the volume down a bit, and then press play using spacebar or this play button. And we have our first beat, right? And these notes that we program here are actually, if we go back to device view, are playing the device that's on this channel, right? So if I press spacebar again to play, you see it's triggering this guy, right? And this is essentially what we're doing. We're making clips with musical patterns. These patterns are going to trigger the sounds inside of our instruments. This could be drum computers, or this could also be synthesizers that we have all here, the instruments here. And they're going to make sound. And then we can control the volume here. So the sound's coming from this guy. The pattern's coming from the clip on the channel. The sound's coming then from the device making the sound because of the notes that you program. And then you have the volume here, and that goes into the main channel. And the main channel is your volume. Anything that we click in Ableton, like this volume, if I click it and I move up, it's going to go up. And if I move down while holding the click, it's going to go down. If I want to reset it to default value, I double click, and you see it goes back to default value. That's with everything. So also up here, when we go to the top here, we have this number. So I'll give you a moment to think what this number is, 126. I always do this in my classes as well. And then people go, oh, it's the BPM. Yes, this is the beats per minute. So that means if I set this to a high value, this kick drum is going to be fast. If I go slow, it's going to be slow, right? So if you double click, boop, it's going back to 120, which is the default. Then we have the time signature 4/4. We have a metronome, which will indicate the beat. For instance, if you want to record, if you want to play something, you can use the metronome to guide you with the timing, right? And we can open this up and set a little count in. And that's handy for when we want to record. Let's say we're here, we press record, and we can press play. You have sort of like somebody that's going to tell you 1, 2, 3, 4, and you start, right? So this is your metronome. Really nice, handy. Then, yeah, we have some more functions. I'm not going to explain all of it. We'll get into that later. Play, stop, record. We have our loop. That's this guy. You can move it around. You see if I make it longer, this value goes up here. So you can also use this value, but I like to use this. And this is going to be handy because we're going to use this in the beginning to loop this section. So it's going to continue play. And that's because of this guy. If this is off, it's going to run on. But if this is on, we got the pencil or the pencil, the B from pencil here. And we got the M from MIDI keyboard. The pencil makes you draw. So you can draw notes inside of your clips if you want to. You can draw notes. So that's or for automation. Where we're gonna go into automation. You can draw automation, but that's for way later. Then here we have the MIDI keyboard that turns your middle row of keys into a MIDI keyboard that you can play. This is like the white notes, and these are the black notes. For a drum computer like this one, it's a little bit different. It's not notes. It's more like sounds. But if you have, like, for instance, if you go to sounds and you look for a nice bass, you get like this bass, you load this on a MIDI channel and you arm the channel. You can actually, and then X is an octave up. And if you press Z once, you go an octave down. Z. So you go lower and lower. X is up. Z's lower. We'll talk about that later as well. So this is basically the whole interface. We have session view, which we're not going to use. we go to arrangement view with the little logo for my tattoo. And then we have channels, MIDI channels and audio channels, which we can create from here. Insert audio track, insert MIDI track. We also have return tracks, but we're not going to use these. We can always click backspace to delete them or to delete anything. We can move things around like this. And we can never delete the last track for some reason. That's very interesting. Then we have the main channel with the main volume here. And then in the bottom, we have device view. If we have a MIDI track selected with a device, we see device view. If we have a clip, we can go to clip view. We can switch down here. If we want to see our mixer, we can open our mixer. And if we want to lower this, we can lower this like this. We have the option to make this bigger or smaller. We have our info view, which is really handy to leave open. It doesn't say it's an alien, but it says it's the MIDI note editor preview or the headphone, whatever. And also this headphone is here to toggle your preview on or off from your browser. That's super handy. And if you want to stop it, if you click something, you want to stop it, spacebar. This is your browser. You can turn it off or on. You can make it big or small. Here you find all your drums and your sounds and all your other stuff that you're going to be needing. We have our BPM, the beats per minute. We have our time signature, metronome, count in, play, stop, record, loop on or loop off, pencil, and the MIDI keyboard. This is all in the main interface that you're going to need. And in the next lesson, I'm going to show you how to make some music. But before we go there, I want to show you the live settings where you can go to the display input. You can zoom in if you have bad eyes, or if you have really good eyes, you put it like lower. You can always reset it to 100. You can change the theme and the colors if you want. Make it all pinkish, whatever. You can make it brighter or duller, depending on the day. And you can also change this the skin. That's really funny. And the most important one for now is the audio, where you can set in an input device like this microphone, or an output device, which is the external headphones for this case, because I have headphones on, so you can also hear it. And if you have a sound card connected, like I have a Model 24 behind me, that's my big sound card. You can choose that, and that will go to your speaker. So your audio output device selection is important, because if that's wrong, you don't hear anything. So that's good to put. All right. So that's that. The last thing is help. Read the live manual. If you click on that, a browser will open where you can see the live manual. And this is really important. They even say thank you for getting Ableton live. And thank you for getting this course also. What I would advise you to do is read the live concepts, where they will introduce you to the essential concepts of live, which I just explained to you as well. The control bar up here, the status bar, and the browser, etc., etc. So you can learn a little bit about it, like studying yourself next to following these lessons is really important. And if you're a little bit autodidact or teaching yourself, it's going to be really, really handy. And I read the whole manual, not only because I wanted to become certified trainer, but also because I wanted to get better at it. And you'll learn a lot about audio and MIDI. Audio and MIDI, let's see what it is. And they'll tell you about what it is, so you don't have to only believe me. You can also read the manual. That's really important. Okay, this is the interface. Now you know a little bit what's what, what's where. And in the next session, you're going to make your first beat. We're going to make a basic house beat with a 909 drum kit. And then I'm going to show you step by step how to create the clip, how to program the beat, and then how to actually move on from there, make a break beat, add bass, add pads. And this is how we're going to go further. So I'll see you in the next session.